Hi, Dave Lapham here. Have you heard about In the Trenches with Dave Lapham, presented by First Star Logistics? Catch new episodes from the world of sports and broadcasting. Search for In the Trenches with Dave Lapham on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome once again to In the Trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics. And today, Thursday, July 29th, our training camp report. Second day of training camp for the Cincinnati Bengals. The biggest and best news of the day, no injuries to report. Really saw nothing of any consequence, not even a cramp, which is a good thing any time that happens at training camp. There's no question about it. But today I'd like to talk about three players that have definitely caught my eye during the course of the first couple of days, and that's a small sample size, obviously. They haven't even put shoulder pads on yet, but they're still doing quite a bit, and they're doing a lot of not only individual drills, they're doing 7-on-7s, they're doing 11-on-11, offense against defense type things, matchups. So you are seeing if guys belong or not. You're seeing if athletically guys are going to fit the bill. And I'm really impressed with Trey Waynes. This kid, 6 foot, 190-pound cornerback out of Michigan State. The Bengals got him in free agency 2 off seasons ago, and unfortunately, during the off season when he was lifting, he tore his pectoral muscle, and they didn't get anything out of him last year whatsoever, and not even anything at training camp. He tore it before training camp even happened. So here he is now, and I can understand why they gave him the contract that they gave him, because this kid has got some length. I mean, he's got some long arms. He can get his hands on wide receivers very, very easily, and he redirects them. He's got very, very good hip flexibility. He can flip those hips. He turns and runs very, very fluidly and efficiently. And the thing I really like about him is when he does get beaten, and he hasn't gotten beaten where it's like a total mismatch, but when he does give up some separation, he doesn't give up on the play. This kid has some recoverability speed. And man, he really gets his feet going and motors to recover and make plays, or at least close the space and be in the vicinity. He's looked really, really good in coverage and has made some plays. He's got his hands on quite a few footballs during the course of the first couple of days of training camp. So I really like what I see out of Trey Waynes, and I think he's going to be somebody that's going to be real competitive on the corner for the Cincinnati Bengals all season long. Player number 2 that I'd like to talk about that's caught my eye, he's going to wear number 91 for the Cincinnati Bengals, Trey Hendrickson, 6'4", 270-pounder out of Florida Atlantic. And he had a breakout season last year with the New Orleans Saints, 13.5 sacks. And that's a serious number when you consider the Bengals as a football team had 17 all of last year, fewest in the National Football League. But what it comes down to is Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard are going to be quite a tandem at the defensive end position. The H-boys is what I'm going to call these guys. They really get after it. And the thing that is so noticeable with them, they both have that good first step initial quickness. And they win at the line of scrimmage with that quickness. I mean, as soon as the ball moves, man, their first step is in the ground, and they are up the football field on you in a heartbeat. And that gets them in a pretty good position. They both are using their hands very well. They rip move, swim move. They get the hands inside, and they can bull rush. And they've got it all. They have a complete package in terms of the pass rush. But equally as impressive is how they're both setting the edge in the running game and turning everything inside. They're doing a heck of a job of that. Nobody's getting outside of them very easily in the running game. And that's going to be a big factor, because honestly the Bengals have given up more rushing yards in the last 2 seasons than any team in the NFL, and that's the reason they've only accumulated 17 sacks. You earn the right to rush the passer by stopping the run, and every defensive player, every defensive coach tells you first thing you have to do is stop the run. So you have to get them in situations where they have to throw the football. Then you can unleash your pass rush and some of your blitz packages and things that go along with it. If you can't stop that running game, it doesn't matter if you have a big ability to rush the passer, because it negates that when down and distance is favorable to the offense on a snap-by-snap basis like that. So I think that Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard are going to help each other in the running game, stopping the run, and also rushing the passer. Ogunjobi inside is a very good pass rusher, but right now he's got a hamstring issue. He hurt himself during the conditioning, pulled his hammy a little bit. Don't know how many days he's going to be sitting out. Mike Daniels can give you some inside pass rush as well. And that's the thing. The reason that Hendrickson got 13 and a half sacks, that front four down in New Orleans, the Saints front four is no joke. And you can't double everybody. So if you have more than one player on the defensive line that is going to generate a double team, cause an offensive coordinator to say, we're going to have to take care of this guy, he's going to consume two players. You know, if it's an offensive tackle and a running back that's chipping, you know, that takes him out of the passing game for a period of time. You know, if you slide the line and block and try to block him with two offensive linemen, that's going to free one of his teammates up for a definite one-on-one situation. If you keep a tight end into slow block, that's one less receiver out in the route. So anytime that a defensive player can cause a double team, he's helping his teammates immeasurably. It's one less receiver on the back end that the linebackers and corners and safeties have to worry about, and it's one less blocker up front that teammates have to worry about. When you get your one-on-one opportunity, you take advantage of it, and that's when you win and sack quarterbacks. It's going to be interesting to watch the H-boys, Hubbard and Hendrickson, get after it this year. The third player I want to talk about is a rookie offensive lineman drafted in the fourth round by the Bengals, number 70 in your program, Deontay Smith out of East Carolina. I'll tell you, this guy's got an NFL body, 6'5", 315 to 320 pounds in that range, and he's got some long arms. And I'll tell you, boy, he's something to watch in protection, pass protection. He's big where you like to be big. I mean, he's got solid legs on him. He's got an unbelievably strong base. He's got broad shoulders, coat hanger shoulders. He's got those long arms. He's got an NFL body. He is put together, and he's very, very fluid and smooth with his movements and mechanics. He passes the eyeball test. I remember last year I watched Hakeem Adeniji, sixth-round pick out of Kansas last year, in the early stages of training camp before the shoulder pads came on. I said, boy, I'll tell you what, looking at this kid, offensive line play, just like any sporting activity, starts with your feet and ends with your hands. And Adeniji's footwork last year was great, got him in position to use proper hand placement and finish with his hands. And that's what Deontay Smith is showing me in the early stages of this training camp. His footwork is good. I mean, he flows freely, and then he finishes with those long hands and strong, long arms and strong hands. He's got those violent hands, and I think this kid, he's got some raw materials now. I mean, he's got some physical characteristics that should translate. The thing that's going to be interesting is the decision you make with him. All right, right now they have him backing up Jonah Williams at the left tackle position. Do you keep a rookie at that one spot and let him learn and let him get comfortable and let him get rep after rep at that one position? Or if you determine that he's one of your 5 or 6 best offensive linemen physically, do you say, all right, look, I'm going to tax you a little bit mentally, and even if you haven't played much guard, you're going to play some guard now because you might be my starting guard against the Minnesota Vikings on the opener. And if that's the case, now you have to start making that decision and move him around sooner rather than later, because opening day is not that far away. We're talking September 12th. So if he hasn't played a whole lot of guard, and it doesn't sound like he's played a ton of guard in his high school or college career, you'd have to make that move pretty quickly if you determine he's one of your 5 best guys physically, or 6 even, if he's going to be your first guy off the bench, whether it's inside or outside at the guard or tackle position. So I think that this kid, though, has got a bright future. Looks like he's coachable. And the other thing I like about him, he's smart in that who's he attached the hip to? Riley Reif, who's a 10-year player. I mean, he is that's who he should be with. I mean, that's the guy that's going to introduce him to do things the right way in the National Football League. That's one of the reasons they signed Riley Reif. This guy has played a lot of football in the National Football League at a very high level. He knows what it's supposed to look like. He knows how you're supposed to prepare. He knows how you're supposed to take care of yourself. So the fact that I'm watching this young rookie, Deontay Smith, right on the hip of Riley Reef and just soaking everything up like a sponge, to me is a good sign. This kid gets it on a lot of levels, physically, mentally, and I think he's going to have a very bright future. Again, I know it's a very small sample size, but when you see guys that can move and can strike with their hands like this guy can and keep his head and shoulders out of there with those long arms where the defensive lineman can't grab and pull, and that's what defensive linemen are trying to do, to get control by grabbing the cantilever, the back of the shoulder pad, and pulling you right out of your shoes. And Deontay Smith's not going to let guys do that. He's got that big frame with those long arms. I like Deontay Smith.